Nvidia flying up today. Apple pushed it up ahead of earnings at 177.50. My whole portfolio is looking really nice. Wow. Wow, what a day in markets right now. What a day. Crazy. Genuinely crazy price action today, man. A lot of bullish action. Shout out to everybody who said we would crash. Not looking like that yet. Again, Apple earnings have the chance to change that, though. Let's be honest. Apple earnings are the one earnings report that could change that. Well, again, we'll see. Oh, I think I had Coinbase also releases theirs. So, yeah, we got Coinbase. I remember earnings can make or break the market. All right, team. Put this up on screen. We're going to get some music playing. Forgive me. I just got out the shower. I just got back from jiu-jitsu, to be honest. And so we did an extra class today, and I put my muscle shirt back on just because I was trying to rush. But yeah, man, my portfolio was looking really, really, really good today. Again, we are green in basically everything right now. We are up about $1,400 today in my investment portfolio. Looking pretty good, man. A lot of it is Amex. A lot of it is Amex. We are locking in some more profit now. We just locked most of that in. Amex with a beautiful move. We also have SQ earnings at the close today. Remember, we do have Square dropping their quarterly earning results. Let's get some music playing here. Tesla flying up right now. PayPal with a beautiful day too, to be honest. Tesla up a lot. Coca-Cola up a good bit. Take a quarter of that position off now. We're up so much. Again, Apple at 177.50s. Huge run. All right, so let's see what Apple's expecting here. Apple expecting 139 a share. Again, 139 profit per share. On 84.69 bill revenue. Plus the full earnings call. When is the actual Apple earnings call? Apple calls at 5, which is nice because it means I don't have to wait until 5:30. So we got the numbers on the bottom of the screen, man. Look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA definitely helping the market right now. SPY with a beautiful rip up to 430s right now, man. Just a really nice day. I'm basically agreeing in almost everything. Disney, we're green. Apple. We're holding Apple as well. AMC, we're green. Coinbase prediction. Yeah, Coinbase is expecting a loss of 54 cents a share on about 652.5 million in revenue. Carvana drops theirs today at 410. They're expecting 85-cent loss per share. DraftKings expecting a 69-cent loss per share on 686.08 million. Block expecting 47-cent profit per share on 5.43 billion. Bill.com expecting 49 cents a share. Booking Holdings expecting $67.86 profit per share. What? Well, I mean, there's a $3,000 stock, so not really a super shock there. They've had a great year though. Booking Holdings, I don't know what that is, but they've had a great year. Apple's going to pull an AMD. We'll see, man. Again, Apple right here. Look at NVIDIA today. NVIDIA is the big pump that's dragging the tech up to almost 440s today. So NVIDIA is really the one that's moving. Again, we're going to do a poll like we always do. Again, bump that like button if you haven't yet. We appreciate it. All right, we're going to ask a poll. Will Apple stock beat or miss their quarterly earnings? Beat, miss, I don't know. As expected are going to be the options to vote on this poll. So again, Apple stock drops their quarterly earnings. Will they beat or miss? Vote on that poll. Let us know how you feel. Again, the SPY just churning up today, man. Honestly, it's a huge green day. Kind of crazy how green of a day it is. Squarespace drops earnings today. That'll be really interesting too. Oracle. Coca-Cola, Home Depot. Google's turning. Disney up nice. Again, slap the like button. We got 16 likes here. I mean, listen, I'm not saying y'all could do better, but y'all could do better. Is Apple going to clutch up realistically with all this movement? Can it move up? I mean, it could. Yeah, I mean, betting against the largest company in the world is only something like retail investors mostly do. Like, it's not something that you see any hedge funds actually do because hedge funds are smart. And so I'm not saying you can't do it short term. I'm saying betting against these companies long term is a risky bet. Um, All right. We're going to make Apple a little bit larger here. What's the guidance expectations? Nice market today. What's up, Martin? Is it possible for Apple to stop Nvidia's momentum if earnings miss? Oh yeah, it's certainly possible. If earnings come in disappointing for Apple, it's certainly possible for it to tank the entire market. Now the market's up huge today, so like even if it tanked it, it's still probably going to be fine. But it's certainly possible, like without question, it's possible that Apple earnings completely tank the market if they come in low. You know what I mean? If they come in low, if EPS comes in low, if revenue comes in low, if guidance specifically comes in low, it's certainly possible that it destroys the market today. But the market's up already, so even if it did, it'd be mostly break even, I think. Federal Trade Commission said Amazon deliberately raised prices by more than $1 billion through secret algorithms known as Project Nessie. All right, so again, we're starting to move up, testing the high of the day. The high of the day on Apple is right around where we are now, right? So right at this 177.65, 177.70 level is the previous high of the day for Apple, and we're approaching that level now. Again, PayPal released earnings, yesterday, right? I don't think they're today. Oh, the music is off. I'm sorry, guys. Can y'all not hear the music? Wait, can y'all not hear the music? My bad, team. Let's fix it. When is SQ earnings? So Apple is actually scheduled for 1:30 or 4:30, I think. So Apple's actually a little bit late. Now that I'm looking this up. All right, team. All right, so again, we're at 177.60s on Apple. So we tapped over that previous high of the day level. Still trying to hold. We expect gross margin to be between 44 and 45%. We expect OPEX to be between 13.5 to 13.7 bill. We expect to be around negative 250 million. We expect the revenue for both Mac and iPad to decline by double digits year over year due to difficult compares, particularly on the Mac. For both products, we experienced supply disruptions from factory shutdowns in the June quarter a year ago. Hey, thanks for that guidance update, man. Thanks so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, SPY had a crazy green day, man. Again, it's one of the reasons, like, you'll see it a lot, right? And what you see is you see people pushing this crash narrative. The market's going to crash. The market's going to crash. Sell now. Do it now. The market's going to crash, right? And then we don't. And then the market pushes up. And then a lot of the time, the people get mad at me for saying it. They're like, oh, this dude says the same thing. And it's like, yeah, because I'm saying you were wrong. So, of course, you don't like me saying that. And again, the cycle kind of repeats. So you get a bunch of people predicting a crash. Most of the time, they're wrong. In the end, the market doesn't crash, and everything's business as usual, as it normally is. I watch the market every single day. We understand exactly what it's doing. Nobody knows whether we're going to crash, and I'm not saying we don't crash. To be honest, we still look like we're in a downward trend. Like, just to show you, I'm not completely like perma bullish. It looks like we're still in a downward trend to me, even with this latest pump up, right? So here's a yearly chart. All right, so here's a yearly chart. This looks like the current trend that we're in right now. Like, that looks like the current trend. Let me fix this a little bit. Like, that looks pretty steady and pretty solid, like the trend we're currently in right now. Now, is it? I don't know. We'll see if we follow, but we're right at the top of that trend line now if we do follow it. And so I'm gonna hop on Fortnite shorting Aapl, lads. Hey, good luck, dude. Hopefully you make some money. I'm going to put this trend line up a little bit better. But I think that's the trend we're in. I think we're still in a downward trend unless we can start really firmly breaking over 431s. But again, we'll see. Dump it all. All right, we'll see. Bullish or bearish, guys, list your numbers in chat. You can also vote on our poll. 82 votes so far. 40% beat, 35% miss, 16% as expected, 10% say I don't know. Let me know, up or down. Does the market go up or down from Apple earnings? Let me know. Either write up or down in the chat. Let's see what you guys say. We got some votes on Twitter already. 54% think they're going to miss. 46% think they're going to beat. All right, guys. Sorry, kind of reading Twitter right now. SPY's still churning up a little bit. Apple did reject though, at that high of the day. SPY sitting there churning right at the peak right now still. So still looking pretty solid here. Again, market is beautifully green today, very green. There's a guy on TikTok crushing job interviews with Fortune 500 companies and big tech using live AI transcription and chat GPT. That's where AI is really going to start, you know. We need a timer, please. Yeah, I got you here. So I'm going to put a timer until the closing bell because there's always a chance that Apple could release early. So we're going to make it 35 minutes. But again, technically they're scheduled for 4:30, so we'll make it 34 minutes. But technically they're scheduled for 4:30, so we'll just time until the close. Yeah, hit the like button. $187 and $167, $230 next year this time. In a few years, I don't think we'll believe what AI can do. Will be crazy. Yeah, AI is only going to evolve faster and faster and faster. And that's the crazy thing about it is that people saying AI is dead. I heard a lot of people saying AI was going to be a gimmick a few years ago. Of course, it's not. And AI is crazy useful and crazily beneficial. All right, guys. Is Apple a pumping or dumping? Sorry, I didn't even let the chat. I didn't even read what the chat says. Down, 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 down. Okay, so everybody basically saying the market's going to fall. We'll see. The market's up a lot right now. A lot. We also have DraftKings. We got SQ earnings. I'm holding a lot of positions in the stocks for earnings right now. DraftKings been ripping up to $29 a share right now. High of the SPY on the year, the last 52 weeks is about 460 or so, a little bit under 460. The lifetime high of the SPY is about 480. About 480. We're at 430s right now. Yeah, I think what people have to realize is this, right? Like people could say we're going to crash. They could say we're going to fall. They could say all these different things. And maybe so, right? I don't know. I always try to tell you guys, like, I genuinely have no idea if we're going to crash or go up or down or anything like that. Nobody does. Nobody really knows what we're going to do, whether we're going to crash or anything like that. You know, least of all you guys, no offense. The only people that really do are insiders at banks and politicians for the most part. Those are the people who really know, right? Like, that's what I mean. I'm not trying to insult you guys, but like, those are the people that really know what the economy is going to do, you know, if something like that's going to happen. Now, with all that said, though, if you look at the last 2.5 years, the market's flat. You know, the market's flat. Now, we had craziness in 2020, but people acting like we're just so extended on, people acting like people acting like we're just so extended on the upside that we have to pull back or that we have to crash is not really accurate. We're kind of flat over the last few years in the S&P, and generally the natural state of the market is up. And so the natural state of this, it generally means that we're going to go up eventually. When is a different story, but the market is almost certainly going to go up eventually, and it makes a lot of sense that we start really turning up now that inflation is a little bit more under control and all that stuff. But there's also problems with that, because sometimes more inflation can drive prices higher, if that makes sense, as well as the fact that there's just a lot of nuance to it. So we'll see. Where do you think the market closes next year is my question. Where do you think it closes next year? Coinbase earnings also really interesting. Time for Aapl earnings, guys. We'll see what happens. All right, so we're at 177.20s right now. 177.20s on Aapl. Again, Aapl at 177.22. SPY at 430.50s, making that another test. Bouncing right at the 200 EMA. What do you think of the bullfrog on Aapl? I mean, I think Jeremiah might be there. Y'all see Jeremiah the bullfrog on Aapl? I'm assuming you meant bull flag. I'm just kind of trolling you a little bit. Yeah, there you go, Jason. Hey, what's up, Shepard? Let's zoom in a little bit. You can kind of see Aapl way up there. NKLA earnings came out. Third quarter revenue came in at 1.73 versus 11.5 million expected. NKLA third quarter adjusted loss per share of 30 cents. They expected 14 cents. They delivered 3 vehicles in the third quarter. 3. And honestly, somehow NKLA is up. NKLA is one of the worst stocks right now, though, man. They're the ones that, wasn't it NKLA that pushed the truck down the hill? Oh my gosh. What the heck is going on here? Bro, why would, oh my gosh. What a terrible video on Twitter, bro. I'm scrolling Twitter. Most of it's sports related, stock related. But every now and then some crazy soccer channel from overseas will just post something weird, dude. Y'all chill out. Jim Cramer on Elon Musk. Maybe the most bullish sign you've ever seen for Tesla in the world right now. The most bullish sign you've ever seen is that Jim Cramer just said, quote, "I wonder whether this man can sell even 50,000 of the 200,000 Cybertrucks," end quote. Most bullish sign in the world. Yeah, and even Elon commented, "This is a good omen. Inverse Cramer never fails." And then not Jim Cramer said that's right. Home ownership is now unaffordable in 80% of U.S. countries. Mortgage rates fell for the first time in 8 weeks, according to Bloomberg. Apple dumping, by the way. Thanks for all the info and all you do. Hey, thank you, Scooter. Shout out to you, man. Thanks so much. Yeah, electric trucks are struggling. Yeah, I mean, predictions are fine, but definitive predictions are different, you know. And again, definitive predictions are, not good at all. Telling people that the market is going to do this, that it's going to do this is not a good thing. You could say, hey, I think the market's going to do this, and that's fine and understandable. But saying it's 100% going to do one specific thing, especially like short-term predictions, is just kind of toxic because new traders see it and they think it's truth, and then they follow it. Like a lot of people were really bearish, a couple days ago, Ramsey specifically, and now the market has churned up heavy amounts, right? So hopefully nobody followed them into those trades. And again, even that's okay if the person can say, hey, you know what, I was wrong, but if none of those things are present, then the person's just kind of toxic. It is what it is. Airbnb released earnings. I thought they were today. Maybe I was wrong. How did Airbnb do? All right, so Airbnb mostly looked like mixed results here. I was wondering what that would look like for real estate purposes. Like the real estate market has a lot of skeptics right now. A lot of people are nervous about it. Again, right at the 200 EMA, Apple's bouncing here. Apple's not really having like a crazy good day. Apple is up on the day, like since the opening bell, Apple is up about 1%, give or take 0.5%, so it's not a crazy good day. It's not a bad day, of course. I mean, when you take into account where Apple was, it's up about $3.50 a share. So yeah, Apple's up like 1.7% today, 1.6%, which is great, but it's not a crazy good day for Apple. Now, yesterday was also, I believe, a good day too. Yeah, so yesterday pushed up. So when you start to add all those stuff together, Apple's had a pretty good, 3-day period. And again, we'll see if they continue. Market's definitely going to move. Oh, for sure. It's certainly going to move. Again, SPY up to 430s right now, 430s. So we almost got 200 people here already. We still got like 20 something minutes until the closing bell. And I believe Apple's going to report a little bit later, which is okay. I forgot my coffee today. Gas. Yeah, I'm looking at this person's budget. So they said their pay was $3,000. They made about $3,400 a month. After taxes, $3,400 a month. Their rent is $1,200, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Utilities, gas, water, electric, $300. Phone and internet, $125. Child care before and after school, $200. Food, $600. Car note, $300. Gas, $200. Yeah, okay. There's a couple things. Most people don't need, $200 worth of gas a month. I would say they might need some. Maybe like you can call it $100, right? They could trim their budget a little bit. The other thing is like, for most people, $300 in utility bills is pretty reasonable, I would say. Ultimately, they've got a car note as well. I think people have to make sacrifices. You can't always drive the brand new car too. But it's certainly really expensive right now to live. I know energy prices have shot up drastically because, again, I'm trying to trim this budget, and I don't see many places to trim it. What I will say, the only one is the food, maybe at $600 a month. I'm sure you could probably trim that down a little bit too. You're just gonna have to cook a lot, which I know is gonna be difficult. So I think a lot of people are struggling with the inflation problems right now for sure. Yeah, I saw that tweet. Do you think we were trace after earnings? It depends on what the earnings are. It really does. If we close above 42.90s today on the E-mini, will be historical. Yeah, it's a crazy big day, to be honest. Like again, I'm up about $1,400 in stocks today. About $1,400, give or take. Like, look, this is me right now. I'm up about $1,397.97 today on my P&L. You know, and again, all of these trades I'm not green on, but I bought Amex with an average price of $143.90. Like, look, so here's my Amex trade. I bought Amex. My average price is $143.93.5. So my average price is way down here. And so we bought this a week or two ago. We've been holding it since. I thought we would push up over that. And we did. And you can kind of see we're up really nicely. We already took a lot of this off too. There's 18 shares left. We had like 60 or 70 shares. Yeah, now we're over $1,400 in profit. So our equities portfolio is doing really nice. You can lower your settings on your electronics, such as fridge. Hi, I have a question. If I was to buy on earnings for Apple, should I buy a longer expiration? I'm assuming you mean options. I wouldn't buy on earnings, personally. It's subjective, preference-based, but I'm not necessarily trying to buy some stock ahead of earnings. Everything I'm holding now, I haven't really been buying up anything new over the last couple of weeks, so I'm not really buying anything ahead of earnings and trying to gamble. Anything I'm holding, I've been holding, and I've been in it for a little bit for the most part. Maybe there's some that I bought recently, but I can't remember any. All right, so NASDAQ posted its biggest one-day gain yesterday since August 29th. And again, following that to today, we're looking pretty good right now. Again, Apple's still trying here. We still got 20 minutes or so until the market closes. Shopify just had a mega quarter. Where's gold at right now? All right. So, Apple. You guys ready? But I was also thinking if Apple beats right and it dips down like how all the others did, could I buy the dip as a share? I don't know. I think the market's very green and optimistic today. So I don't think if Apple beats, it depends. There's a lot of nuance behind these reports. There's a lot of them. So Apple earnings calls at 5 p.m., Raphael. Yeah, I'm sorry, Sam. I don't really use the Discord that much anymore, to be honest, bro. Discord, there's too many bots and too many scammers. It's hard to grow, and most people just join and try to promote themselves. And so I don't really use the Discord that much anymore, to be honest. I don't really promote it either. The CEO of NAR, this National Association of Realtors, has stepped down. They were found guilty of colluding to inflate or maintain high commission rates and have been ordered to pay damages of about $1.8 billion. All right, so today is the day the jury deliberation begins in the Sam Bankman-Fried trial today. A lot of stuff going on. Greg Brockman, who is the president and co-founder of OpenAI, said 13 years ago to the day I dropped out of MIT and got on a plane to Cali to work on a tiny payment startup with Patrick and John Collision, who kindly offered to let me stay on their living room floor. Somebody said in the comments, main lesson, if you have a bed, you're probably going to fail. If you're not homeless, you're going to lose. Okay. It's that simple. Again, Aapl testing that 200 EMA again. Amex still surging up. Honestly, should I take more off of Amex? No, we're holding small enough already. I don't think we need to scale out some more. Again, we'll see how tech moves after the close today. Again, so technically the earnings are scheduled for, we got Square dropping at the close. A lot of these, we don't really have any dropping right at 4 except for Booking Holdings, but we're going to cover all of them. Expedia as well. WW, I guess Weight Watchers is what that is. I've heard they've been struggling lately, but maybe it's just news. Insulet, Skyworks. All right, so let's see. The other big thing. All right, I want to see what the forecast is. Let's see what the guidance. I want to see what the guidance numbers are. What's expected for guidance? Does anybody know? We had it earlier. Let me find it. I'll have to go find it. Congrats, Sam. That's great, dude. Don't talk about it, will you? If all you ever say is about my sponsor, you're not going to last long here, bro. I'm going to tell you that. Let me find... There it is. All right, so they expect gross margin to be between 44 and 45%. They expect OPEX to be between $13.5 billion and $13.7 billion. They expect OI and E to be around negative $250 million. So this will help you judge the reaction quickly. They expect revenue for Mac and iPad to decline by double digits year over year due to difficult comparisons, particularly on the Mac. And for both products, we experienced supply disruptions from factory shutdowns in June quarter a year ago. We'll watch the numbers based off of that, specifically the gross margin. I think is going to be interesting, as well as the iPad and Mac stuff. Don't underestimate the $2 billion plus Apple devices, which Apple can profit from. Services revenue will beat. You can't turn it off. That's rough. Mixed EPS beat and revenue miss. Market will love it anyway. Will market crush tomorrow? DraftKings is coming out as well. Yeah, for sure. I think I would probably have made more today were it not for rhythmic issues. Still $720 from 3 scalps. What's up, Scoot? With that positive mood today, we must have zero chance for a recession now. No, that's not it at all. I mean, a recession risks are still there regardless of a small... I mean, it's not a small green day. It's actually a pretty big green day. Let's see how much is the market up over the last 2 days? Percentage-wise. I always like to look at percentages. All right, so percentage-wise, the SPY... Let's look at a daily chart. All right, so the SPY was all the way down at 409. about a week ago. A week ago, the SPY was at 409, roughly. What is it? 409 something. 409.20. We'll call it 409.50, just so we can get an accurate gauge. To find the percentage increase, going from 409 to $430, an increase of five and a half or 5.5%. So we're up about 5.5% over the last week, which is great. Which is great on the SPY. We needed that move for sure. So again, the SPY up over the last week, 5.5%. The problem is that we've dropped a pretty significant amount since then. Again, though, the low of we opened the year at about 360, 370 right now. In 2023, though, if we look at like 2023, we're at 380s. So we're still at pretty big percentage wise on the year already. I guess we got the Aapl poll going live right now. 55% of people think they're going to beat. 45% think they're going to miss. All right, we got over 300 people here. We still got 10 minutes until the close. You guys ready? So the earnings call, again, I see a lot of people confused. So I believe Apple earnings are scheduled for 4:30, like a 4:30 release for Apple earnings. I think the earnings call is actually at 5 p.m. So, hey, thank you, Ramsey. Hey, thanks so much, man. I mean, you were wildly wrong about your prediction of a market crash today, yesterday, the day before, but it's all love. If you roll with it, I'll appreciate you a lot more, Ramsey. The people that bother me the most are the people that make these big, bold predictions, and then when I bring it up, they get mad or weird or act like they didn't. Those are the most toxic ones. If you could roll with it and laugh at yourself, I'll appreciate the viewership a lot more. Definitely top 3. Bottom still not in. Hey, $1,000 on my short. Again, we're up to 431s almost on the SPY. The SPY is still moving. Let me put the SPY up here. SPY breaking highs again right now. Again. Look at this. Crazy, honestly. What a nice green day. I've never understood the only use an iPhone people. About half my friends are iPhone loyalists. I've tried them. Yeah, I have a Samsung too. I'm actually a Samsung guy. Like, look. Like, I have the Z Fold phone, but my whole family is Apple. So I have an Apple phone as well. I have multiple phones. But my work phone's a Samsung. Drought Kings, Antonio. I like DraftKings. Hey, but thank you so much, Ramsey. I appreciate the donation, brother. Thank you, man. I have 300 Apple stocks. Thanks so much, man. Ramsey. Good luck, G-Force. I hope we go up. I'm holding Apple, so obviously I hope it goes up. SPY broke highs again. New high of the day is at 430.80s. 430.80s on the SPY. Oh, I laugh heavy at myself when I'm wrong, KC. If you think nobody tells me I'm wrong here, you haven't been paying attention, sir. Dude, I don't know how many people tell me I'm wrong constantly. Again, the biggest one that you'll hear me make fun of myself about is Tesla. I thought Tesla was a short at $100. You know the really bad one? Here's the worst call I've ever made. All right, the worst call I've ever made. All right, I thought GameStop was a good short at $4 in 2021. At $4. Wildly wrong. Again, Apple's still churning up here. The market closes in about 6 minutes. Oh, pew pew is about to happen. Don't call me wrong, sir. Drought Kings. Yeah, man, Drought Kings earnings today, Antonio. You know it's DraftKings, right? Is DraftKings a stock? Am I dumb? Is there really like a DraftKings, or are you just intentionally spelling it wrong? You mean DraftKings? Yeah, definitely top 3 black guys in the world right now for sure. Look at this thing, man. Look at that. Look at that, man. Look like a battered husband over here. Like my son just got tired of it and just popped me, you know? All right, guys. Hey, we got 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Striker at 405, Apple at 430. All in with Tesla. Apple 3 trill. Valuation. What's it at now? $2.7 trillion. 2.72 trillion. So it still needs a lot. It needs a lot of B's in there to hit that. But hey, if it keeps pumping up, we'll see. What's the lifetime high on Apple? Lifetime high on Apple is 198.20s. Actually hit it this year. So Apple hit the lifetime this year. 198.23 is the lifetime high. So, but again, this is a post-split price. It used to be higher, of course. SPY's still moving up. What's the Q at right now? What's gold doing as well? Gold still sitting around 2,000, slightly under it. Oil today is green with everything else. Yeah, Coinbase releases earnings as well after the closing bell today too. Yeah, the shotter's from jiu-jitsu. And so I'm not really like embarrassed about it. Listen, if I got into a street fight and somebody beat me up, maybe I'd be embarrassed about it. But if somebody accidentally elbows me in the face for rolling in jiu-jitsu, I mean, that's just pretty normal. My second week training, I bowed somebody in the mouth, busted his lip. Felt terrible about it, apologized profusely about it. And he was just like, no, it's fine. So I didn't even notice I got hit in the eye in jiu-jitsu. So rolling can get intense, and so you don't really notice that type of stuff. Yeah, Coinbase SQ, which is Cash App. So we have Cash App earnings, which is Square SQ. We have Coinbase earnings today. We've got DraftKings, DKNG as well today. Obviously, the big boy is Apple. Again, 3 minutes. Cubano. Yeah, I could definitely submit Gordon Ryan and Nikki Ryan too, man. Punks, you know. Terrible at jiu-jitsu, you know. John Danaher as well, you know. I could choke him with his rash guard. Hey, we got 2.5 minutes. We'll see if we hold. Again, Apple's had a great day. SPY looking good. The time is now, guys. The time is now. Yeah, a month and a half worth of that bloodbath disappearing in a day. Really, it's 2 days, but still, it's a lot. We got 2 minutes, team. This dude just said the SPY is looking good. Oh, no. What, am I the new Cramer? You don't think the SPY looks good today? You think it looks bad? Definitely top 3 worst looking symbols in the world right now on the SPY today. Look at this move. Up to 430s. DraftKings pushing up to 29. DraftKings is scheduled to report theirs at 4:15 Eastern. 4:15 Eastern. So DraftKings drops about 15 minutes after the close. Coinbase is scheduled for about 10 minutes after the, or no, Coinbase is actually scheduled for 5 minutes after the close. A lot of these are scheduled not at 4 p.m. on the dot, which is typical, but 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes later. Specifically, Apple's scheduled for a little bit later. So, again, we're at 177.60s for Apple. All right, here we go. 40 seconds, guys. 40 seconds. Earnings calls at 5 p.m. So, again, if you don't understand earnings, here, 20 seconds, team. Dude, my TOS clock is like weird. It's counting in 2-second increments right now. 52, 54. Weird. Apple just broke highs again. All right, so there's the close. Team, there's the close. Let's watch Apple. Again, like we could look at like Coinbase, SQ. It's time. It's time. We gotta wait. Coinbase up to 85 a share. We gotta watch Square, DraftKings. What else releases today? Carvana, Net, Bill, Paramount. All right, we're going to cover earnings as we see them, team. I've never seen the SPY hit 2% in a single day, so I really wanted to see it. Paramount released their earnings, 30-cent profit per share, 10-cent estimates, revenue of 7.13 versus 7.1 expected, 7.1 billion. All right, so again, waiting for anything else. We don't really have anything technically scheduled to release until 4:05. Not anything big. I mean, we had some stuff that we're supposed to drop. Booking, BKNG. Booking is such a big stock, man. Such an expensive stock. It must have a low float, though. Put a 1-minute chart up so you can see the actual true price action here. Again, we're at... look at this candlestick. Up to 2,900, back down to 2830s. Again, we'll cover them as we see them. Here's Square. If anything else drops, let me know. DraftKings. Coinbase. Expedia released their numbers. They came in at $5.41 a share profit versus expected $4.93. Revenue of $3.92 billion. They expected $3.86. They reiterated fiscal year guidance and announced a $5 billion share buyback. So this should be pretty good for Expedia. We'll put the number up in chat so you can see it. It should be pretty good for them. Oh, yeah. Didn't IEP drop earnings today? Honestly, that's a beat-up stock, man. That Hindenburg report just destroyed them. When are they scheduled for theirs? Did IEP? What is IEP? Is Icahn the angry old billionaire dude that's always yelling at everybody? Is that him? Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. I thought that might be him. Let me Google this. Is that the angry billionaire? I can't tell. I'm not saying all old people look the same, but I don't know. That doesn't look like him. Maybe this is a different dude. Yeah, Hindenburg took out SQ and Icahn. SQ actually pushing up, though. SQ might be out. Yeah, but is he the angry billionaire guy that's always cursing and yelling at people, saying if he had to start over, he would do it differently or whatever? He's always angry, yelling at people. He must be on that TRT life, you know. But I don't know if it's the same dude or not. Again, SQ push it up right now. I don't actually see the earnings out yet. Apple's still set. We're waiting for Apple. Again, Apple. I guess Apple's going to be dropping theirs at 4:30. Unwrapped. SQ did pop up some though. Just don't see any results yet. I think SQ is going to move a little bit more when the numbers actually come out. All right, so there's 405. Let's look at Coinbase. I think we're going to move over to Coinbase because I think Coinbase is scheduled to release theirs unless they're late. They're not out for sure yet. Also, we're going to throw this thing in sub-only mode. So if you haven't already, guys, just subscribe. You know you want to. We appreciate it. Coinbase was technically scheduled for 305, but I don't see it out. Or 405, I mean. So if you see anything else move, let me know. All right, so we're checking SQ. Nothing. Coin. Nothing. What else was dropping today? DraftKings. Nothing. Carvana. Nothing. Net. Nothing really. Expedia came out pretty good. They ripped up pretty big, but now pulling back, not holding the gains. Net. Net's down a little bit. Or no, you're talking about FT&T. Whoa, yeah, look at FT&T with a pretty brutal drop. Roughly 25% drop at FT&T. They posted EPS of 41, beat 36. Sales missed, though. We'll put those numbers up on screen if you want to check them out. Look at that drop in Fortinet. You see the numbers in chat. Coinbase is late. I don't know if that's good. SQ still pushing up. I don't see the numbers out for SQ yet, at least not on my platform, but maybe they're moving up in anticipation. Apple releases it. Technically, they're scheduled for 4:30. Bill? Yeah, Bill's out and they're tanking down here. Bill.com. Still waiting for Coinbase, man. They're the big one that's supposed to release. Look at Bill.com down to 63s from 90s. So this is a huge drop. They just dropped 30% plus. Apple moving up a little bit. Coinbase down. Coinbase dropping like they just released. But I don't see it yet. All right, let me look this up. Coinbase. See how this influences crypto. Coin 82 cents. I don't see Coin's numbers yet. All right, Coinbase third quarter revenue $674 million versus expected $647. Third quarter transactional revenue $288.6 versus $283.3. Again, Coinbase. Starting to rip up a little bit. I don't see what the EPS is yet, though. Coinbase flying up to 86 right now. Still moving though. Looks good. All right, Coinbase up to 86 a share. All right, Block out 55-cent profit per share. 5-cent profit per share. Block is out. Coinbase shooting up. We'll put Block numbers up in chat as well. Coinbase flying up, about to go green on the day, which is surprising that it's red in a huge, powerful day. SQ flying up as well. Monster Energy posted 43-cent profit per share on revenue of $1.86 billion. Put these numbers up in chat if you want to follow along. Why is Bill down 30% if they beat or met earnings? Because you never know how stocks are going to react to them. They might find some small nuance they didn't like and just use that as justification to sell or not buy. Again, so SQ had a big pop. Now pulling back a little bit, but pretty big bounce. Bill.com is absolutely getting destroyed right now. Coinbase EPS was 1 cent profit. Aapl consolidating, man. Coinbase trying to go green. Again, I'll put the Coinbase numbers up right here if you want to see them. Coinbase. Or SQ flying high right now at $48 a share. Just broke highs again for SQ. All this tech strength is pulling Aapl up some. Coinbase is not really holding its gains as much as you might want it to. Sorry, Sam. Aapl revenue or Coinbase revenue was $674 million. They expected $655. SQ still churning up, still higher. Man, my portfolio is looking good today. Hopefully Aapl doesn't change that. We are now up 1551 in stocks today, 1551. The earnings for Block are in the chat already. Just got to scroll up to find them. Block earnings were 55-cent profit versus 47-cent expected. Revenue of 5.62 versus 5.44 expected. Square, and you can see they're ripping up right now. Here's the numbers right here if you really want to see them. Square pushing towards 50. Yeah, leaks are nonsense. Apple's going to dump. We'll see. Yeah, we still got 15 minutes. Non-farm payroll. Yeah, we got non-farm and unemployment data. Man, look at Square churn up. Disney was a nice move too. Honeywell moving back up some as well. Apple testing the top of the range. So SQ just broke over 50. Yeah, look at SQ run here. Wow. It's a crazy chart for Square. Use your portfolio. Right now it's about 33,000. I sold a little bit today on this big green action, so it's about 33,000. I mean, I got more than that in this account, but right now that's about it. DraftKings, what do they do? Are they out? And DraftKings up to 31 a share. They posted 35-cent loss, expected a 69-cent loss, revenue of 0.79 billion. They expected 71 billion, 0.71. So they expected 710 million. They ended up showing 709 million for earnings. They're retracing a little bit right now if we look at DraftKings, but I just put the numbers up in chat if you guys want to see it. DraftKings popping up though. Again, Square just broke $50 a share. DraftKings still pushing up. We had Pioneer drop numbers as well. Carvana posted adjusted EBITDA of 148 million. They expected 59.7 million. Revenue of 277 billion. They expected, or 2.77 billion. They expected 2.78. So slight miss in rev for Carvana. Again, slap the like button if you haven't already, team. We appreciate it. Get ready, guys. It's time. Apple earnings. Big day. Honestly, big day. MCHP Microchip Tech posted numbers too. We're going to put those up on screen as well. Stryker Corporation posted 246 EPS versus 243 expected. Revenue of 4.9 billion. They expected 4.86 billion expected. Tesla's pulling back a little bit. It hit 218s, kind of struggled, but up a lot on the day regardless. Yeah, again, hit the like button, guys. Hit the subscribe button. We appreciate the love. Thanks so much. Again, we do all this stuff live every week. We cover all the major economic reports. My big thing is, like, I don't want to be a guru. I don't sell a course. I don't sell a service. I don't claim to be an expert. I don't act like a guru. I don't charge for content. We put everything out there for free without charging anything for it. We have sponsors. And again, if you want to support the channel, you can support our sponsors, but there's no paywalls behind content. Like, you don't have to pay anything to watch these streams or buy a course. Like, all the day trading content we put out is completely free. If you want to check out our sponsors, first one is Top Step. It's a funded program in futures. They give you a demo in futures, and then the futures market, you can day trade essentially the SPY. Patterns are very similar to blue chip stocks. You can day trade the NASDAQ. You can day trade currencies, gold, silver. No PDT rule. And so most pro day traders trade futures. And again, they give you that demo and they test your skill. And if you can hit the target on the demo without hitting the max loss, the base one is $49, very cheap. And it's a great way to test your skill in day trading. If you don't have that much money, or if you're not ready to move up to real money, most new traders lose when they put up real money. So this is a great way to kind of get a good middle ground of it. What they do is they give you a demo and they test your skill. If you can hit the target on the demo, the base one's $50K demo. If you can hit $3K in profit without losing over $2K and following the rest of their rules and conditions, they fund you $50K with a 90% split, and they pay out millions and fund thousands of traders a year. They're the most legit futures funded program in the world, in my opinion. Although they are a sponsor of mine, I'm biased in their favor. But it really is the best of both worlds. If you lose, you're out $49. Not that bad. If you're good enough to pass it, you get 50 to 150,000 in funding, depending on which one you go with. And so there's a lot of benefits for it. Just taking the challenge, build your skill. But again, I'm definitely biased because they pay me money. And so of course I'm biased. I'm always transparent about it, but if you want to check them out, here's the link. Great way to help support the channel. Yeah, Coinbase is out. We cover all of these on the chat. I'll post them again if you really want them. Coinbase posted a 1 cent loss per share. They're expected to lose 54 cents. So much better, much smaller loss than expected, 1 cent versus 54 cents expected in losses. Revenue of $6.65 billion. I don't know what they expect. I think they came in at, for revenue for Coinbase, they came in at 674 million versus 674 mil versus 655 mil expected. So better than expected revenue and EPS for Coinbase. Square's still surging up here. Kind of surprising how much Square's up. Aapl turning down a little bit, but again, the earnings aren't out with theirs yet. We still have about 9 minutes until they drop. DraftKings still trying to push up. Square, though, man, one of the biggest moves of the day. Still pushing up to 52 a share right now, 52 a share. Cloudflare, it's a symbol. Net. Yeah, Net's out. Looks like they're down. Cloudflare guides for the fourth quarter EPS of 12 cents on revenue of 352 to 353 million. They expected 10 cents on revenue of 356, so lower revenue guidance, but better EPS guidance, so mixed results. Revenue of 335.6 mil, increase of 32%. But they also, and better than expected rev. Where's their EPS? I respect the companies that put the metrics at the very top instead of making you dig around to find the EPS. 7 cent loss per share for net, per diluted share. So 16 cent profit per share for net. Somebody say Aapl numbers were leaked on Twitter and beat. They did say that. Whether that's actually true is a completely different thing, though. Every major economic report, earnings report, FOMC meeting, they say that the outcome is suspectedly leaked. It never is. Usually what it really is they're overextended in some position and they're desperate to influence people to do one specific thing. And maybe, again, I could search for this to see if there's any validity to it. But it's most likely complete nonsense. Yeah, I don't see any leak. If it was, it'd probably be talked about already. So 6 minutes, team, 6 minutes. Is Palantir down that much after hours? Okay, you're just making stuff up now. Yeah, I think Alex Investments is just saying random stuff. I don't see anything about Palantir doing anything like that. He also said some other stuff. All right, team. Hey, we got 6 minutes. 6 minutes. Five minutes, I mean, now. Maybe I'm missing it. Is Palantir down? I don't see anything major for Palantir. Looks like it's up pretty big on the day. It opened up at 1490s. Or it closed at 1490s. It's at almost 18 a share right now. Yeah, we're just going to put him in timeout. He's just making stuff up now. Yeah, Coinbase did announce a beat, an EPS and revenue beat. So Coinbase is not really holding as well, though. Coinbase is actually turning down a little bit. All right, guys, we got 3.5 minutes. Yeah, West, I did, man. Again, will Apple beat or miss? Here's your last chance. We got 3.5 minutes left. 3.5 minutes. Will Apple beat or miss? Here's your last chance to say it. And then gloat if you're right. Will they beat or miss? Yes or no? Give me your argument. What do you think they're going to come in at? Apple is expecting $1.39 a share EPS, revenue of $84.69 billion. Will they beat or miss those numbers? Let us know. Miss. Apple also working on AI. Yeah, beat. Big miss. Beat. Miss by a lot. Miss. 3 minutes, team. 3 minutes. Square's still holding up really nicely, though. Beat slightly. 142 a share. That'll be a beat. In line. What a bold prediction. Beat with soft guidance. Well, guidance coming good or bad? Let me know. Good or bad guidance for Apple. Here we go, guys. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Great, good, bad guidance, good guidance. Right on expected. Apple will beat. Bad. Apple does not give guidance. Yeah, you might be right, actually. Earnings good, guidance low, sales miss, guidance good. Looking for a range around 15%. Weak guidance. Do you make your trading decisions based on? Sorry, chat's moving quickly. On earnings reports, not my short-term trading. No. Again, what you want to watch for, guys, is we expect the revenue for both Mac and iPad to decline by double digits year over year due to difficult compares, particularly on the Mac. For both products, we experienced supply disruptions from factory shutdowns in the June quarter a year ago. We expect gross margin to be between 44 and 45%. We expect OPEX to be between 13.5 to 13.7. We expect OI and E to be around 250 minus million. So that is something they said previously. We got 1 minute left, team. 1 minute left. We got about 2,000 people here, so slap the like button, subscribe if you haven't yet. And we'll see if Apple helps or hurts the market today on a big historic run up in the market today. We'll see if it helps or hurts the market. We got 41 seconds left, roughly. Oh. All right, here we go, guys. 30 seconds. Watch Apple closely here. 30 seconds. We're at 178 right now, 178. And again, we're going to stream the full call at 5 p.m. as well. But here we go, 40 seconds. It's getting hot in here with that heater. 40 seconds. Or 10 seconds, guys. I'm sorry, 10 seconds. Apple up to 178. Here we go. The most heavily weighted stock in the market releases their earnings in 5 seconds. Let's see what they do. Ugh. You guys ready? Apple up initially, down initially, back up, big up to over 180, back down to 179. Doji candle. Apple is out. So again, Apple posted 146 per diluted share, 13% year over year, 146 on revenue of 89.5 million. So again, much better than expected, 89.5 versus 84.69, 139 expected. They ended up showing 1.46. iPhone sales came in at 43.8 billion, and Apple so far has reacted positively to this number. iPad sales of 6.443 billion. That's making the market dip a little bit. That's what they were worried about was iPad sales, and that's making the market drop. iPhone sales making the market drop. Better than expected, but disappointing iPad and iPhone sales so far, making the market not push up as much, making Apple not push up as much, but it's still honestly completely flat relative to where it was. We have 2023 wearables revenue at 9.32 billion for the fourth quarter. Services revenue at 22.314 billion. Is this fourth quarter results? But Apple so far not liking this. Fourth quarter services revenue reached an all-time high. All right, down to 176 is here. 176 is again. We're gonna put this up on screen. Apple beat EPS, beat sales, down. We're going to put the other metrics up on screen so you can see it. iPhone sales, again, 43.8 billion. iPad sales, 6.44 billion. Apple's still technically green on the day, though, so it's not like it's a huge drop. It's kind of a neutral reaction. Mac sales, 7.614 billion. Wearables at 9.32 billion. Services revenue at 22.31 billion. 22.31 billion for Apple. All right, guys. Again, Apple, 146 EPS, 139 expected, revenue of 89.5, 89.28 expected. I don't know. I sure the expected was about 85 billion, but analysts are all different. Again, fourth quarter services revenue reached an all-time high. I'm going to go ahead and read some of this. Tim Cook says the iPhone 15 Pro and the the 15 Pro Max models are supply constrained. They expect to reach supply-demand balances on the iPhone 15 and 15 Pro Max models during the current quarter, and expect Max sales to improve in the current quarter. Fiscal year revenue came in at 89.5. So again, I'm going to read some of this actual report here as well. So they said today, Apple is pleased to report a September quarter record revenue for iPhone and an all-time high record in services. Tim Cook, Apple's CEO, said, "We now have a strong lineup, the strongest lineup of products ever heading into the holiday season, including the iPhone 15 lineup and our first carbon-neutral Apple Watch models, a major milestone in our efforts to make all Apple products carbon neutral by 2030. Again, still quoting, "Our active installed base of devices has again reached an all-time high across all products and all geographical segments. Thanks to the strength of our ecosystem and unparalleled customer loyalty, said Luca Maestri, Apple CFO. They said, quote, during the September quarter, our business performance drove double-digit EPS growth and returned nearly $25 billion to our shareholders while continuing to invest in our long-term growth plans. Apple Board of Directors declared a cash divvy of 24 cents a share on the company's common stock. It's payable on November 16th to shareholders of record as of the close of business on November 13th. So that is it right now for Apple. Apple down to 174, still technically green on the day. Bounced it a little bit at that previous closing price. Again, still technically green on the day. Not really down enough to really influence the market. My portfolio is still pretty solid. Again, mixed results, but down slightly. Maybe the earnings call will change things. And again, stick around. We are going to stream the full call live. All right, guys, full call starts at 5 p.m. in 25 minutes. We'll put a timer up here as well. 25 minutes. That's nice. All right, so again, Apple bouncing a little bit at that previous close. Still technically green on the day, but not by much. Definitely turning down a little bit from the earnings call. Now we're popping back up. We're up to 176, very flat. Yeah, we'll see how many times they say AI today. Again, the numbers were better than expected. It'll be interesting to see what we get moving forward again, and I have no idea what we're going to get there. Bouncing up a little bit on Apple. Again, we still got a solid 24 minutes until the numbers come out. Again, we're very flat on this report. What the actual earnings call says will hopefully give us some more details into what might potentially happen. PayPal just got approved on November 1st yesterday to offer Bitcoin and crypto services in the UK. Dude, AI is hilarious. Yeah, crazy good day. Honestly, this has been one of the most historically good days in markets. We pushed up heavy. Up to 176 now. 176. DraftKings reported revenue of $790. They raised revenue guidance for 2023 midpoint to $3.69 billion and improved 23 adjusted EBITDA guidance midpoint to $105 million. $105 million loss, I think that is. All right, guys, Fortinet. Shout out to the penny stock traders that were telling everybody the market was going to crash last week. And so George Hotz says the 2020s will be for AI what the 90s were for encryption. 40-bit key limits in Clipper chips. In the 2030s, you'll have a personal exaflop, GPT-4 and a watch, superhuman household robots. World War III even won't stop this. And again, we're all quoting from him. Are you and your country? Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Do you guys think that's true or not? I think we're probably pretty close to that. Over the next 20 years, I definitely kind of see that happening. Something like that. I don't know if it's going to be perfect, but it's going to be pretty solid. I think it's going to be a fun time. All right, so still at 175, very flat report. I guess I'd rather it react this way than just crash on this number, right? I guess I'd rather it react negatively like this, or react neutrally like this than negative like we've seen on earnings over the last couple months. Again, Coinbase, another one of the big stocks dropping earnings. What did Bitcoin do since Coinbase came out? Coinbase is actually down under 80 right now. Bitcoin at 35.1 thousand. God, it's probably sleepy again. Yeah, we'll see. Even after 2008, they're always saying the stock market is going to crash. Yeah, I think it depends on how easily influenced by media the person is. Like, I think if the person's easily influenced by media and experts, newsletters, or whatever it is, I think the person's just more primed to think that we're always going to crash because, again, crashes get clicks, is what it is. Peloton. How did Peloton do right now? Like, where's Peloton at? They're at 540. 540 a share. Square ripped up even more at basically $53. Peloton actually did all right, but Peloton just a failing company. The problem is, like, I've done polls on this before, but I asked people, would you rather have a Peloton bicycle or an actual bicycle? And almost everybody voted actual bicycles. They also now have a virtual reality rowing machines. The problem is, like, technology has developed to a point at which now we're creating very unnecessary things. Like, a virtual reality rowing machine is completely, like, who's going to spend thousands of dollars on that unless somebody just has too much money? And I'm not saying there's not a business for that, but there's not going to be a good one. I don't know. I'm scared of shorting right now. Yeah, you probably should be. I'm in Aapl already, so I'm not really buying the dip. This isn't really dippy enough. This isn't a dippy enough dip for me to want to dip buy it. Yeah, but 5% is not really that much. Let the market settle overnight and get back in the morning. Yeah, we'll see. Again, we got like 15 minutes until this number comes out. And again, we'll really see. All right, you guys ready? All right, again, we got the earnings call starting at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to stream the entire thing like we always do. All right, so again, we got the earnings call. Went out pretty soon. All righty, guys. So stock moves. Get Coinbase out of here. There we go. All right. So again, the actual Aapl earnings call starts in about 15 minutes. Ramsey got the best forecast. They're so crazy, I want to believe them, but we know it's not happening. Yeah, 100%. Peloton is a company. Yeah, it's just not a good idea. I mean, I don't know. The idea, I don't even know if I like the idea. I think the margin's probably got to be pretty rough. Right, exactly. Laguna Beach, he said there'll always be doom and gloom bears. They're still mad they were sitting on the sidelines from January to July. 100%. That's exactly what it is. And again, Apple's starting to turn back up here. What did my poll say last? Okay, we asked will they beat or miss. So we already know they beat. So let's do another poll here. Will the markets would the markets react positively or negatively from Aapl earnings call? Positive reaction, negative reaction. Be the two options. Hey, thanks, Laguna. How is trading view different from yours? What about Coinbase? Coinbase is out. They didn't really react positively to it. Yeah, again, I've said this before, and I kind of keep saying it because I think it's true, but Peloton would do a lot better I think it's certainly more risk because those bikes are expensive to produce, right? But I think if Peloton sold the bikes for cheaper amounts, like sold each individual bike for less, and then raise the monthly subscription cost, because the people aren't going to be able to use the bike without the subscription. And so if they spend $1,000 on a bike, they're going to pay for the subscription, right? So if you lower the cost of the bikes and then raise the price of the monthly subscription, it'll be more profitable recurring revenue. It'll be an easier barrier of entry for a cheaper bike. And ultimately, I think they'll be more profitable if they do so. They should hire me as a CEO. But again, there's also risks when you think about it in that regard, because we don't know how much it costs to make one of these bikes. And if they're losing money already on that deal and they're trying to make it back on subscription income, that's when it gets really tricky and slippery to kind of take the price off a little bit. But again, I think if somebody's going to spend $1,000+ on a bike, they're going to pay for the subscription regardless. So raise the price of the subscription, reduce the price of the bikes, get them in people's houses, and then, they'll do a little bit better, I think. Oh yeah, Coinbase was definitely overvalued at 300+. But I mean, at the same time, the crypto market also just completely turned and crashed. So Bulls drunk on leverage, bears hungrier, man. Yeah. Apple should be up 8% like AMD. With platforms like Z Swift, I can use my actual bike. Yeah, I've never tried those apps. The only reason to go long on Peloton is hoping they get bought out. Yeah, I mean, that's an option. Again, we'll see. You can check out my other sponsor. It's called Chart Prime team. And again, they're a sponsor. We do a couple plugs per stream, which is very reasonable. Like if you listen to the radio, you're going to get a commercial every like 30 minutes. And I know some of you guys are so young, y'all don't even know what the freak the radio is. And that's okay. But if you check out these scripts, right? I like using lately I've been using the regular market Oracle Pro on a 1 minute chart. And I think the NASDAQ is a little bit better. You can use these on stocks, crypto, Forex, futures. Everybody's different. But when you look at this, it's a trading view indicator service. So you can use it in stocks, crypto, Forex, however you want to use it. And they can be powerful. Again, I backtest the strong sell signals. Like, look, we can look at how much they worked versus didn't work. All of these today, basically, right? So look, sell signal, beautiful drop. This one definitely didn't work. This one worked a little bit, but maybe not. Strong buy signal, bounce. Sell signal, this one maybe didn't work. Strong buy signal, bounce. I don't know. This one, this one didn't really work that well on the NASDAQ now that I look about it. Let me check the E-mini. I think I was also looking at another one where I think these are better longer term. I don't know if these are going to be good for short-term price fluctuations. I think I was looking at this on a 2-hour chart. Maybe not. Let me see. But I think you gotta search around and see which ones they work on. Yeah, I think the 2-hour chart was the one that it worked the best. And I think if you look at this, right, so this is a long-term chart. Buy signal here, beautiful bounce for like days. Strong sell signal here, beautiful drops. Buy signal there, you got a little bit of a bounce. Strong sell signal here, beautiful drop. Buy signal here, bounce. Sell signal here, drop. So they're basically like 4 for 4, except for maybe this one, but still, it's arguable. But if you back test these and find trends that are working, I think they can be powerful. If you want a little bit more reliable setup, look at the regular market Oracle and then put a 5-minute chart up. Okay, and so using the regular market Oracle, using a 5-minute chart. And again, honestly, this doesn't look that bad either. Sell signal just came in on the S&P. It's probably just so extended. Honestly, the 5-minute chart on the market Oracle Pro looks pretty solid. Like almost every look at all the strong signals here today, right? Strong here, bounce. Buy signal, bounce. Strong signal, bounce. Sell signal, drop. So interesting. But again, my favorite system here, the one I use the most is, you can see how many indicators show up. My favorite one with Chart Prime. And again, one that I find a lot of accuracy is when you see it just like this. It's not always going to work. Nothing does. But if it works 60 or 70% of the time, it's powerful, right? But like, look, when these two indicators show up at the same time, a bullish engulfing candle and a reversal up signal, or a bearish engulfing candle and a reversal down signal, when they show up within like 4 candles, 20 minutes of each other on a 5-minute chart, the accuracy can be really, really good. Like here, we dropped for about 15 minutes after those happened. Even if it's a short period of time, it still worked. But again, if you keep scrolling back and you back test this, right? Look, here's another one. Engulfing candle, nice little dip. This is like a 30-minute dip afterwards. But they're usually a lot better than that. Look, reversal up, bounce. But again, I'll keep going back. When they're sitting right on top of each other like this, and you can create alerts on TradingView, look at the accuracy. Bounce. I can keep going back too. See, these are too far away. They need to be right on top of each other. Look, right here, same thing. Bullish engulfing candle, reversal up signal. Bounce. And again, you can keep going back and testing it. I would say the accuracy is probably at least 60 to 70%. Bullish engulfing reversal, bounce. Bullish engulfing reversal, bounce. Bullish engulfing reversal, bounce. Right here, when they're right on top of each other, I think it works the best. Bearish engulfing here, drop. Bullish engulfing, bounce. Again, back test it yourself. It can be powerful. It's a company called Chart Prime. You can use it in stocks, crypto, Forex, futures. They also have like they also have chart patterns you can use, smart money concepts, oscillators, all these different things on charts. Just look really useful, you know. They look really useful. And so again, we'll see if they hold. If you want to check it out, here is the link. They are a sponsor, of course. I'm biased. But if you want to check it out, I can't guarantee you're going to make money. Nobody can, you know. Nobody can guarantee you're going to do anything. So here's the link. DraftKings. Yeah, I gotta switch my headphones out before. All right, team. Hey, we got 7 minutes left. 7 minutes left. Yeah, how many times will they say AI during the call? Let me see if I can hear the music. There we go. Yeah, 6 minutes, guys. A little bit less than that, actually. Can y'all hear the music? You should be able to. Why is the strong dollar bad for Apple? Because there's usually an inverse relationship between equities and the Dixie. So if the Dixie pushes up, the market pushes down, and vice versa. And so if equities push up, the dollar index is probably going down. Okay, you can hear it. This report's not really super bearish. It's kind of mixed. It's down a little bit, but I don't know if looking at very small drops, it's basically, you know, we don't know why that's happening. It's too nuanced. SpaceX and Starlink achieve break-even cash flow. All right, team. 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes. SQ pushed up a lot, like a lot. Still holding its gains for the most part. How's Microsoft? Microsoft still reacting pretty well to all this. Again, slap that subscribe button if you haven't already, team. We appreciate it. We got 1,400 people here still live. Earnings calls in 3 minutes, 3 minutes. Here we go, team. You guys ready? 2 minutes. Forward guidance. It's down 2,000 points since July, so we're not sure. Well, I mean, anybody can give you a time frame and say it's bearish or bullish, right? Like we could say, hey, the SPY this year alone is what are we up this year? In the last 52 weeks, last year the SPY opened up at 380s. We're now at 430s. You know, because we could also isolate the last 2.5 months and say we're super bearish. And again, just to put it into perspective, I think that the SPY is actually in a downward trend right now. If we look at it, I think if we put up a yearly chart, I think we are in a downward trend, and we're really kind of right at the top of this trend. But I guess my point is, it depends on the time frame we're looking at. Look, I think we're in this trend right now on the SPY. And again, if we can continue to push up well over 430s, I think we'll break the trend. But who knows? All right, team. Less than a minute. So in a second, we're going to do a sound check. Team, in a second, we're going to do a sound check. All right, y'all can't do this, right? Yeah, I'm going to stop the screen and reshare my screen just to make sure. Reshare the audio just to make sure we're going to catch it. All right, and then we're going to mute it again and wait. All right, team. Hey, thank you, Tanya. I appreciate the love. Thanks so much. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, Bill.com down a lot. Bill.com is basically had terrible earnings. Thank you so much for being here, John. Yeah, all good. The next BlackBerry. No, it's got a lock on the young people audience. Again,
Good day, and welcome to the Aapl Q4 fiscal year 2023 earnings conference call. Today's call is being recorded.
sound good?
At this
Sound check?
time, for opening remarks and introductions, I would like to turn the call over to Suhasini Chandramouli, Director of Investor Relations. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. Speaking first today is Apple CEO Tim Cook, and he'll be followed by CFO Luca Maestri. After that, we'll open the call to questions from analysts. Please note that some of the information you'll hear during our discussion today will consist of forward-looking statements, including, without limitation, those regarding revenue, gross margin, operating expenses, other income and expense, taxes, capital allocation, and future business outlook, including the potential impact of macroeconomic conditions on the company's business and results of operations. These statements involve risks and uncertainties that may cause actual results or trends to differ materially from our forecast. For more information, please refer to the risk factors discussed in Apple's most recently filed annual report on Form 10-K and the Form 8-K filed with the SEC today, along with the associated press release. Apple assumes no obligation to update any forward-looking statements, which speak only as of the date they are made. I'd now like to turn the call over to Tim for introductory remarks.
Thank you, Suhasini. Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining the call. Today, Apple is reporting revenue of $89.5 billion for the September quarter. We achieved an all-time revenue record in India, as well as September quarter records in several countries, including Brazil, Canada, France, Indonesia, Mexico, the Philippines, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, the UAE, Vietnam, and more. iPhone revenue came in ahead of our expectations, setting a September quarter record, as well as quarterly records in many markets, including China mainland, Latin America, the Middle East, South Asia, and an all-time record in India. In services, we set an all-time revenue record with double-digit growth and ahead of our expectations. During the September quarter, we continued to face an uneven macroeconomic environment, including foreign exchange headwinds and we've navigated these challenges by following the same principles that have always guided us. We've continued to invest in the future and manage for the long term. We've adapted continuously to circumstances beyond our control while being thoughtful and deliberate on spending. And we've carved a path of groundbreaking innovations and delivered with excellence every step of the way. That includes Apple Vision Pro, which has gotten such an amazing response from developers who are currently creating truly incredible apps. We're excited to get this magical product in the hands of customers early next year. Now let me share more about our products, beginning with iPhone. iPhone revenue came in at $43.8 billion, 3% higher than a year ago, and a new record for the September quarter. This fall, we were thrilled to debut the iPhone 15 lineup. The all-new iPhone 15 and iPhone 15 Plus feature a gorgeous design, powerful cameras, and the intuitive dynamic island. Powered by the industry-leading A17 Pro, our iPhone 15 Pro lineup has a beautiful, strong, and durable titanium design and the best iPhone camera system ever, including a 5x telephoto lens on iPhone 15 Pro Max. Customers are loving the entire iPhone 15 family, and reviews have been off the charts. In Mac, revenue came in at $7.6 billion, down 34% year over year from the prior year's record quarter. This was due to challenging market conditions as well as difficult compares against the supply disruptions and subsequent demand recapture we experienced a year ago. Earlier this week, we were excited to unveil the next generation of Apple Silicon with our incredible family of M3 chips, M3, M3 Pro, and M3 Max. We're continuing to innovate at a tremendous pace, and our industry-leading lineup of personal computers just got even better. The new MacBook Pro lineup brings our most advanced technology to our Pro users, while iMac, the world's best-selling all-in-one, just got faster and more capable. And according to the latest data from Student Monitor, nearly 2 out of 3 college students chose a Mac. We couldn't be more excited about the future. Turning to iPad, revenue for the September quarter was $6.4 billion. iPad sets the gold standard for tablets, and our competitors are unable to match the iPad experience that is enabled by our seamless integration of hardware and software. iPad is also our most versatile product. In classrooms around the world, it's helping educators bring lessons to life while giving students a window into the world around them. And in artist workshops, design studios, and everywhere else creative minds come together, iPad supercharges the creative process, helping users take their ideas further than they ever could before. Across wearables, home, and accessories, revenue came in at $9.3 billion. Apple Watch has become essential in our lives, and this is our best Apple Watch lineup ever. With Apple Watch Series 9 and Apple Watch Ultra 2, we're giving people even more tools to stay safe and live healthy, active lives. With the new double tap gesture, users can easily control Apple Watch Series 9 and Apple Watch Ultra 2 using just one hand and without touching the display. It feels like magic. Our latest Apple Watch lineup also includes our first ever carbon neutral products, a significant achievement of innovation and determination. Apple's unique ecosystem of hardware, software, and services delivers an unparalleled user experience. During the quarter, we also had the chance to introduce a range of exciting new updates to our software that will allow users to get even more out of their devices. Whether it's personalized contact posters and new FaceTime features in iOS 17, new tools for users to make their experience their own in macOS Sonoma and iPadOS 17, or a bold new look in watchOS 10 that lets you see and do more faster than ever, Apple is delivering an even better, richer experience that users are loving. Services revenue set an all-time record of $22.3 billion, a 16% year-over-year increase. We achieved all-time revenue records across App Store, advertising, Apple Care, iCloud, payment services, and video, as well as a September quarter revenue record in Apple Music. Whether subscribers are waking up to headlines on Apple News Plus, getting their morning workout in with Fitness Plus, feeling the beat with Apple Music on their way to work or school, or unwinding at the end of the day with Apple Arcade, we have so many different services to enrich their day. Apple TV Plus continues to delight customers as well, with new and returning shows like The Morning Show, Lessons in Chemistry, and Monarch. We're telling impactful stories that inspire imagination and stir the soul. Making movies that make a difference is also at the heart of Apple TV Plus, and we were thrilled to produce Martin Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon, a powerful work of cinema that premiered in theaters around the world last month. We're proud to say that since launch, just over 4 years ago, Apple TV Plus has earned nearly 1,600 award nominations and nearly 400 wins. We also offer subscribers an unprecedented live sports experience with MLS Season Pass. We couldn't be more pleased with how our partnership with Major League Soccer has gone in its first year. Subscriptions to MLS Season Pass have exceeded our expectations, and we're excited to continue that momentum next year. With the playoffs now underway, we can't wait to see who takes home the MLS Cup. And nowhere does the magic of Apple come alive more than it does in our stores. Over the past year, we've continued to find ways to connect with even more customers. We welcomed customers to our first ever retail locations in India. We also opened doors to new stores in Korea, China, and the UK, and expanded the Apple Store online to Vietnam and Chile. And we have another store opening in China this week. In September, I joined our team at Apple Fifth Avenue on launch day, and the energy and excitement were unbelievable. Every time we connect with a customer, we're reminded why we do what we do. From simple joys of creating and sharing memories to life-saving features like emergency SOS via satellite, we're enriching lives in ways large and small. And whether we're working to safeguard user privacy, ensure technology made by Apple is accessible for everyone, or build an even more inclusive workplace, we're determined to lead with our values. Our environmental efforts are a great example of the intersection of our work and our values. Across Apple, we act on a simple premise: the best products in the world should be the best products for the world. We've made our environmental work a central focus of our innovation because we feel a responsibility to leave the world better than we found it, and because we know that climate change cannot be stopped unless everyone steps up and does their part. Our first ever carbon neutral products represent a major milestone, and we're going to go even further. We plan to make every product across our lineup carbon neutral by the end of the decade. And we're not doing it alone. Over 300 of our suppliers have committed to using 100% clean energy for Apple production by 2030. We also continue to invest in entrepreneurs who are lighting the way for a greener, more equitable future. Through our third Impact Accelerator class, we're proud to support a new class of diverse innovators on the cutting edge of green technology and clean energy. Apple is always looking forward, driven in equal measure by a sense of possibility and a deep belief in our purpose. We're motivated by the meaningful difference we can make for our customers and keenly determined to push the limits of technology even further. And that's why I'm so confident that Apple's future is bright. With that, I'll turn it over to Luca.
Thank you, Tim, and good afternoon, everyone. Revenue for the September quarter was $89.5 billion, down less than 1% from last year. Foreign exchange had a negative impact of over 2 percentage points, and on a constant currency basis, our revenue grew year over year in total and in each geographic segment. We set a September quarter record in the Americas and saw strong performance across our emerging markets, where both iPhone and services grew double digits. Products revenue was $67.2 billion, down 5% from last year, due to very challenging compares on both Mac and iPad, which I will discuss in more detail later on. At the same time, we reached a September quarter record on iPhone, driven by strength in emerging markets. Our total installed base of active devices reached an all-time high across all products and all geographic segments, thanks to our high levels of customer satisfaction and many new customers joining our ecosystem. Our services revenue set an all-time record of $22.3 billion, up 16% year over year, with growth accelerating sequentially from the June quarter. Our performance in services was broad-based, as we reached all-time revenue records in the Americas, Europe, and rest of Asia Pacific, and a September quarter record in Greater China. We also set new records in every services category. Company gross margin set a September quarter record at 45.2%, up 70 basis points sequentially, driven by leverage and favorable mix, partially offset by foreign exchange. Products gross margin was 36.6%, up 120 basis points sequentially, also driven by leverage and mix, partially offset by foreign exchange. Services gross margin was 70.9%, up 40 basis points from last quarter due to a different mix. Operating expenses of $13.5 billion were at the low end of the guidance range we provided, up 2% year over year. Net income was $23 billion. Diluted earnings per share was $1.46, up 13% versus last year, and a September quarter record. And operating cash flow was strong at $21.6 billion. Let me now provide more detail for each of our revenue categories. iPhone revenue was $43.8 billion, up 3% year over year, and a new September quarter record. We had strong performance in several markets, including an all-time record in India and September quarter records in Canada, Latin America, the Middle East, and South Asia. Our iPhone active installed base grew to a new all-time high, and fiscal 2023 was another record year for switchers. We continue to see extremely high levels of customer satisfaction, which 451 Research recently measured at 98% in the US. Mac revenue was $7.6 billion, down 34% year over year, driven by challenging market conditions and compounded by a difficult compare in our own business, whereby last year we experienced supply disruptions from factory shutdowns in the June quarter and were subsequently able to fulfill significant pent-up demand during the September quarter. We also had a difference in launch timing, with the MacBook Air launching earlier this year in the June quarter compared to the September quarter last year. We have great confidence in our Mac lineup and are excited about the recently announced iMac and MacBook Pro powered by our M3 chips. Our installed base is at an all-time high, and half of Mac buyers during the quarter were new to the product, driven by MacBook Air. Also, we saw reported customer satisfaction of 97% for Mac in the US. iPad generated $6.4 billion in revenue, down 10% year over year. Similar to Mac, these results were a function of a difficult compare from the supply disruptions in the June quarter a year ago and the subsequent fulfillment of pent-up demand in the September quarter. iPad continues to attract a large number of new customers to the installed base, with over half of the customers who purchased iPads during the quarter being new to the product. And the latest reports from 451 Research indicate customer satisfaction of 98% in the US. Wearables, home, and accessories revenue was $9.3 billion, down 3% year over year. We had a September quarter record in Europe, and we saw strong performance in several emerging markets around the world. Apple Watch continues to expand its reach, with nearly two-thirds of customers purchasing an Apple Watch during the quarter being new to the product. And customer satisfaction for the watch was recently measured at 97% in the US. Services had a great quarter. We reached a new all-time revenue record of $22.3 billion, up 16% year over year. And we're happy to see growth coming from all categories and every geographic segment, which is a direct result of the strength of our ecosystem. Our installed base of over 2 billion active devices continues to grow at a nice pace and establishes a solid foundation for the future expansion of the ecosystem. And we continue to see increased customer engagement with our services. Both transacting accounts and paid accounts grew double digits year over year, each reaching a new all-time high. Also, our paid subscriptions showed strong growth. We have well over 1 billion paid subscriptions across the services on our platform, nearly double the number we had only 3 years ago. And finally, we continue to improve the breadth and quality of our current services, from exciting new content on Apple TV Plus and Apple Arcade to additional storage tiers on iCloud. We believe our customers will love these new offerings. Turning to enterprise, we are excited to see our business customers in both developed and emerging markets expand their deployment of Apple products and technologies to drive business innovation and employee satisfaction. Starbucks continues to invest in Apple technology to bring the best experience to their customers and employees, including tens of thousands of iPads across all retail stores to help their teams streamline order management, operations, and training. In addition, Starbucks recently refreshed over 10,000 Macs to the latest M2-powered MacBook Air for all store managers, enabling them to do their best work and improve productivity. And in Indonesia, popular technology company GoTo is offering Mac as a choice so that employees can have the best tools to be most productive. Today, more than half of its workforce are already choosing Mac for work. Let me now turn to our cash position and capital return program. We ended the quarter with over $162 billion in cash and marketable securities. We increased commercial paper by $2 billion, leaving us with total debt of $111 billion. As a result, net cash was $51 billion at the end of the quarter, and our goal of becoming net cash neutral over time remains unchanged. During the quarter, we returned nearly $25 billion to shareholders, including $3.8 billion in dividends and equivalents, and $15.5 billion through open market repurchases of 85 million Apple shares. We also began a $5 billion accelerated share repurchase program in August, resulting in the initial delivery and retirement of 22 million shares. Taking a step back as we close our 2023 fiscal year, our annual revenue was $383 billion. While it was down 3% from the prior year, it grew on a constant currency basis despite a volatile and uneven macroeconomic environment. Our year-over-year revenue performance improved each quarter as we went through the year, and so did our earnings per share performance as we reported double-digit EPS growth in the September quarter. We are particularly pleased with our performance in emerging markets, with revenue reaching an all-time record in fiscal 2023 and double-digit growth in constant currency. We are expanding our direct presence in these markets, from new Apple retail stores in India to online stores in Vietnam and Chile. And we continue to work with our partners to offer a wide range of affordability programs so that we can best serve our customers. We're very excited about the momentum we have in these markets and the opportunity ahead of us. As we move ahead into the December quarter, I'd like to review our outlook, which includes the types of forward-looking information that Suhasini referred to at the beginning of the call. The color we are providing today assumes that the macroeconomic outlook doesn't worsen from what we are projecting today for the current quarter. Also, on foreign exchange, we expect a negative year-over-year revenue impact of about 1 percentage point. As a reminder, the December quarter this year will last the usual 13 weeks, whereas the December quarter a year ago spanned 14 weeks. For clarity, revenue from the extra week last year added approximately 7 percentage points to the quarter's total revenue. Despite having one less week this year, we expect our December quarter total company revenue to be similar to last year. We expect iPhone revenue to grow year over year on an absolute basis. We also expect to grow after normalizing for both last year's supply disruptions and the one extra week. We expect Mac year-over-year performance to significantly accelerate from the September quarter. We expect the year-over-year revenue performance for both iPad and wearables, home, and accessories to decelerate significantly from the September quarter due to a different timing of product launches. On iPad, we launched a new iPad Pro and iPad 10th generation during the December quarter a year ago. For the wearables category, last year we had the full December quarter benefit from the launches of the AirPods Pro 2nd generation, the Watch SE, and the first Watch Ultra. For our services business, we expect the average revenue per week to grow at a similar strong double-digit rate as it did during the September quarter. We expect gross margin to be between 45 and 46%. We expect OpEx to be between $14.4 billion and $14.6 billion. We expect OI&E to be around negative $200 million, excluding any potential impact from the mark-to-market of minority investments, and our tax rate to be around 16%. Finally, today our board of directors has declared a cash dividend of 24 cents per share of common stock payable on November 16, 2023 to shareholders of record as of November 13, 2023. With that, let's open the call to questions.
Thank you, Luca. We ask that you limit yourself to 2 questions. Operator, may we have the first question, please?
Certainly. We will go ahead and take our first question from Mike Ng of Goldman Sachs. Please go ahead.
Hey, good afternoon. Thank you very much for the question. I just have a question on iPhone storage and demand versus iCloud. As demand for storage grows, are you seeing a mix shift towards higher storage iPhone models, or are consumers mostly opting for the same because of increased uptake of iCloud Plus? What are some of the strategic and financial considerations here and trade-offs as you think about the mix shift towards higher storage models versus iCloud penetration? Thanks.
Michael, it's Tim. We, as you probably know, we started the line with the iPhone Pro Max at 256, and so we are seeing a different mix, if you will, this year than last year. Outside of that, not significant changes.
Great, thank you. And as a separate follow-up, I was just wondering if you could talk a little bit about the market conditions on notebooks and desktops, and any color that you can share regarding the timing of the M3 MacBook Pros this year versus the M2 earlier in the calendar year. Thank you.
Yeah, we're thrilled to have announced the M3 lineup and get the new MacBook Pro and the new iMac out there. We couldn't be more excited about it. We, as Lucas said, with the lineup that we've got and the compare issue that we don't have during Q1, we anticipate a significant acceleration in the Mac space for Q1. To just repeat a little bit about the circumstances of the performance last quarter. In the year ago June quarter, we had a factory disruption that lasted several weeks. The pent-up demand that resulted from that was filled in the September quarter, and that made the September quarter not only a record, but a substantial record. And obviously we're now comparing against that for 23. And so that, I wouldn't look at the negative 34 as representative of the underlying business performance, is sort of the net of it.
Excellent, that's very clear. Thank you, Tim.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Mike. Can we have the next question, please?
Our next question is from Aaron Rakers with Wells Fargo. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for taking the question, and congratulations on the execution in the quarter. I'm curious, Tim, if you could help us characterize what the demand environment you're seeing in China looks like. How has the reception been to the iPhone 15? And kind of similar question to the prior one. How would you characterize the mix within China as you go through this current product cycle? And I have a follow-up.
Yeah, if you look at how we did in Greater China for the quarter, we came in on a revenue basis -2. But one thing to keep in mind here is that the FX impact was nearly 6 points. So we grew in constant currency. And underneath that, if you look at the categories, iPhone actually set a September quarter record in mainland China. And what pulled down the performance was a combination largely of Mac and iPad. Services also grew during the quarter, and the Mac and iPad suffered from the same issues that the company did with the compare issues to factory disruptions in Q3 that were filled subsequently in Q4 of 22. In addition to that, we had the top 4 selling phones in urban China for last year, and I took a trip over there and could not be more excited about the interactions I had with customers and employees and others.
Yep. And then as a quick follow-up, I'm curious, as we move towards more of an inflationary component pricing environment, Luca, how do we think about that effect, or how you're thinking about the gross margin at the product level as maybe component pricing starts to turn what's been clearly very favorable over the last several quarters to more of a inflationary environment? Thank you.
Well, as you've seen from our results in Q4 and the guidance for Q1, we're obviously experiencing very strong levels of gross margin. The 45.2 was a record for the September quarter. And then, the guidance for Q1 is obviously strong at 45 to 46%. Our gross margins are affected by multiple factors. Obviously, the commodity environment is one of them, as you mentioned. It's been a good environment in recent quarters. But equally important is the mix of what we sell. And obviously, growth in services for us is favorable. And that has helped our company gross margin. Foreign exchange, on the other hand, has been a drag for several quarters, given the strength of the dollar. We don't provide guidance past the December quarter, which is a very important one for us because it's the beginning of the product cycle for many products. And so we feel very good, very confident about, this coming year. And I think the gross margin guidance reflects that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Aaron. Can we have the next question, please?
Our next question is from Eric Woodring with Morgan Stanley. Please go ahead.
Awesome. Thank you very much for taking my questions. Maybe if I start, Luca, I know that the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max are constrained today, but I think some of your comments suggest you should be back to supply-demand balance before quarter end. So I guess my question is, does your December quarter revenue guidance account for any supply constraints? And if so, is there any way to kind of quantify how much supply would be limiting your December quarter revenue performance? And then I have a follow-up. Thank you.
Yes, it's correct. We are constrained today on iPhone 15 Pro and iPhone 15 Pro Max. We're working very hard to get the product in the hands of all the customers that have ordered it. We expect, as of today, that we're going to be in supply-demand balance by the end of the quarter. So the guidance reflects that.
Okay, very clear. Thanks. And then, maybe for you and Tim, you guys have been on the leading edge of innovation across hardware, software, silicon, services, and I'm sure there's plenty of technologies and kind of longer term projects that you're investing in. How should we think about your capital intensity as we look to fiscal year 24, just given, over the last few years, CapEx as a percentage of revenue had been relatively low compared to the 8 years prior. So should we expect a step up or kind of similar capital intensity? And what are the more notable moving pieces, if any, that we should be thinking about? Thanks.
Well, the big areas of investment for us are tooling and equipment for manufacturing plants, our investments in data centers, and our investments in our own facilities, both corporate facilities and retail stores. And so both for the tooling in our plants and our data center investments, we tend to have a bit of a hybrid model where we share some of the investments with our partners and suppliers. And so maybe that's why you see sometimes a bit of variability. But over the last few years, we made all the investments that we needed to make. And obviously, we're planning to make all the investments that we believe are needed and appropriate in order to continue to innovate.
Great. Thanks so much for the color, guys.
Thanks, Eric. Can we have the next question, please?
Our next question is from David Vogt with UBS. Please go ahead.
Great. Thanks, guys, for taking my question. I know you covered China. I want to pivot to the U.S. for a second. Obviously, iPhone and the business looks like it returned to growth in the quarter, but it's still relatively softer, kind of where I thought it would be at this point in the cycle. And some of the U.S. carriers obviously haven't been that particularly aggressive in promoting upgrades. So just wanted to kind of get a sense first what you're seeing from your partners in the U.S. kind of currently and going forward, and what do you expect? And then second, Luca, on the margins, I mean, is it fair to say that the mix in Q1 from a product versus services dynamic is kind of the key driver of the better gross margin guide as a whole relative to, let's say, the December quarter? Or is there anything else? I know you mentioned there's a lot of moving pieces, but is that the primary driver of the uplift in the margin? Thanks.
On the U.S. carriers and the U.S. business in general, it's really too early to call the iPhone cycle, particularly with the constraint around the Pro and the Pro Max, and the U.S. tends to do quite well with those products. It's really too early to tell what the upgrade rates will be and what the switcher rates will be.
On the margin side, if I understood your question correctly about the December quarter guidance, keep in mind that actually December is the quarter where our products business tends to be very heavy because of the holiday season. And so the services gross margins that are accretive to total company have an impact, but not as meaningful as other quarters during the year. And so I think that the main drivers of the guidance that we provided are the fact that we are seeing improved costs and improved mix on the product side of the business, partially offset by foreign exchange, which continues to be a drag both sequentially and on a year-over-year basis.
Got it. So the weakness in iPad and wearables are less of an impact on sort of the margin trajectory in the December quarter?
That's correct.
I guess.
That's correct.
Got it. Thanks, Luca.
All right. Thanks, David. We'll take our next question, please.
Our next question is from Amit Daryanani with Evercore. Please go ahead.
Yep. Good afternoon. Thanks for taking my question. I have two as well. I guess first off, just the services growth rate. There was a tremendous acceleration, I think, in September quarter to 16% growth, and sounds like it's going to hold there pretty well into December. Can you just talk about what is driving this acceleration? Are there a couple of products that have just stepped up in a very meaningful way? Just maybe flesh out like what is driving this acceleration, because it's fairly notable compared to what you've been seeing in the last few quarters.
We had a really strong quarter across the board, Amit, because both geographically and from a product category standpoint, we saw very significant growth. I mentioned the records on a geographic basis. And from a category standpoint, literally we set records in each one of the big categories. We had all-time record for App Store, for advertising, for cloud, video, Apple Care, payments, and a September quarter record for music. So it's hard to pick one in particular because they all did well. And really then we step back and we think about why is it that our services business is doing well? And it's because we have an installed base of customers that continues to grow at a very nice pace, and the engagement in our ecosystem continues to grow. We have more transacting accounts, we have more paid accounts, we have more subscriptions on the platform, and we continue to add. We continue to add content and features. We're adding a lot of content on TV Plus, new games on Apple Arcade, new features, new storage plans for iCloud. So it's the combination of all these things and the fact that the engagement in the ecosystem is improving, and therefore it benefits every service category.
Got it. That's really helpful. And then maybe if I could ask you about Vision Pro, which I believe is supposed to be launched more broadly sometime in 2024 in the early part of the year. I'm curious, how different do you think the launch and the consumer education of this product or a new category will be versus other things like AirPods or Apple Watch that you've done? And then perhaps any themes that stood out to you from the developers that have been able to use this in the developer labs. What feedback have you gotten from them?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's a tremendous amount of excitement around the Vision Pro, and we've been very happy to share it with developers. And we have developer labs set up in different parts of the world so that they can actually get their hands on it and are working on apps. And I've been fortunate enough to see a number of those. And there's some real blow away kinds of things that are coming out. And so that all looks good. To answer your question about is it similar to AirPods or Apple Watch, I would say no. There's never been a product like the Vision Pro. And so we're purposely bringing it out in our stores only so we can really put a great deal of attention on the last mile of it. We'll be offering demos in the stores, and it'll be a very different process than a normal grab and go kind of process.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, Amit. We'll take the next question, please.
Our next question is from Harsh Kumar with Piper Sandler. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hey, thanks for the question and congratulations on tremendous execution in a very tough macro. Actually, Tim, the last question is a perfect segue here, given what you are doing with your Vision Pro. So lots of companies are experimenting with generative AI. I'm curious about what kind of efforts you have. I'm sure there are segues into the provision that you have, but I was curious about if you can give us a glimpse on how you might be able to monetize some of these efforts with generative AI.
If you kind of zoom out and look at what we've done on AI and machine learning and how we've used it, we view AI and machine learning as fundamental technologies, and they're integral to virtually every product that we ship. And so just recently, when we shipped iOS 17, it had features like personal voice and live voicemail. AI is at the heart of these features. And then you can go all the way to then life-saving features on the watch and the phone, like fall detection, crash detection, ECG on the watch. These would not be possible without AI. And so we don't label them as such, if you will. We label them as to what their consumer benefit is, but at the fundamental technology behind it is AI and machine learning. In terms of generative AI, we have obviously we have work going on. I'm not going to get into details about what it is because as you know we really don't do that. But you can bet that we're investing quite a bit. We're going to do it responsibly, and you will see product advancements over time where those technologies are at the heart of them.
Thanks, Tim. Very clear. And for my follow-up, I had a philosophical question. So you guys always try to provide the best experience for consumers. To that end, I think over the last decade, you insourced a lot of important chips in your phones, in your Macs, iPads, so on and so forth. And that was, I think, a function that ARM wasn't around in the industry from a merchant angle. But now we see the silicon guys, the chip guys moving to ARM architecture. So my question to you is, has the move to internal silicon been economically profitable proposition for Apple, or is it a strategic one where you simply need to own this and it's vital to your products for the consumer experience, or maybe there's a path back to chip vendors at some point in time?
It's really enabled us to build products that we could not build without doing it ourselves. And as you know, we like to own the primary technologies in the products that we ship. And arguably, the silicon is at the heart of the primary technologies. And so, no, I don't see going back. I am happier today than I was yesterday, than I was last week, that we made the transition that we've made. And I see the benefit every day of it.
Thanks, Tim.
Yeah.
Thank you, Harsh. We'll take the next question, please.
Our next question is from Wamsi Mohan from Bank of America. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much. Tim, over the last decade, pretty much, you've gained a lot of share in China. As you look here, some of the domestic players are starting to reemerge, especially in the high-end phone space. I know you touched on China, but how would you see Apple's positioning and opportunity for continued share gains, particularly in China? And how was the linearity in China from a demand perspective? And I will follow up, please.
In the September quarter, we set an iPhone revenue record in China. We're very proud of that. And we obviously grew. The market predictions that I've seen would have the market contracting. And so if those are correct, then we gained share last quarter. And so we're very proud of that. I don't know what every quarter will hold, and obviously we just give a bit of color on the current quarter. But over the long term, I view China as an incredibly important market, and I'm very optimistic about it.
Okay, thanks, Tim. And as a follow-up, you obviously had a great services quarter, and part of your services business has these licensing relationships with search partners where you serve a very important distribution function for them. Can you talk about how you think about these relationships and potentially some of the options maybe Apple has to mitigate some of the risk given some of the scrutiny with some of these search partners? Thank you so much.
They are important relationships, and as you know, we don't get into our commercial relationships in the call. I see them as important, and we make decisions that are in the best interest of our users, or what we feel is in the best interest of our users. And that's kind of what we've done in the past, and how we run the show in the future as well.
Okay, thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Wamsi. Can we have the next question, please?
Our next question comes from Krish Sankar with TD Cowen. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, thanks for taking my question. I had two of them too. First one, Luca, thanks for the color on gross margin. And when I look at it over the last 4 quarters, even if on a year-over-year basis revenue decline, the gross margins have improved. And I understand services definitely helps. I'm just kind of curious, when you look at on a go-forward basis, are most of the big step functions and cost reductions like the Mac Silicon conversion, et cetera, that are done, or is there more room for margin expansion from here? And then I had a follow-up.
Well, on the product side, as you know, when we launch new products, the cost structures of those products tend to be higher than the products that they replace. It happens because we're always adding new technologies, new features, and then we work through the cost curve over the life cycle of the product, and we tend to get benefits as time goes by. The guidance that we provided for December reflects all that, and so we're starting from a better position than a year ago or than in the past in general. There are other factors that play a role. For example, the mix of products that we sell. Not every product has the same gross margin profile, and so our guidance, our results are reflective of that. And also within a specific product category, a lot depends on the kind of models that we sell because they have different margin profiles. I think one of the things that we've done well over the last few years is to offer more affordability solutions to our customers in the form of installment plans, trading options, and low-cost financing in general. And what that has accomplished is reduce the affordability threshold for our customers, and therefore they can buy at the top of our product ranges. That has been a big factor in the reason for our margin expansion. We don't provide guidance or color past the current quarter because there's so many different variables that affect gross margins, but we obviously feel very good about the trajectory that we've had in 2023 and now the guidance that we provide for the beginning of our fiscal 24. And we need some of these things because obviously the foreign exchange environment has been difficult and has been a bit of a drag for us, but net, we're very pleased where we are.
Got it. Thanks for that, Luca. And then a follow-up for Tim. Obviously, you're seeing amazing momentum in India. I'm just kind of curious, how do you look at, when you look at the India growth opportunity on these hardware units, how to think about ASP relative to that versus like the rest of the geographies? And is there a way to compare or contrast India, growth momentum versus China maybe a decade ago or so at the same point of the rollout of, the share gains in that geography?
Yeah, it's a great question. We had an all-time revenue record in India. We grew very strong, double digits. It's an incredibly exciting market for us and a major focus of ours. We have low share in a large market, and so it would seem that there's a lot of headroom there. The ASPs, I haven't looked at them most recently, but I'm sure that they're lower than the worldwide. But that doesn't bother us at all. It just and in terms of the similarity, I would say each country has its own journey. And I wouldn't want to play the comparison game, but we see an extraordinary market, a lot of people moving into the middle class. Distribution is getting better. Lots of positives. We put 2 retail stores there, as you know. They're doing better than we anticipated. It's still early going, but they're off to a good start. And I couldn't be happier with how things are going at the moment.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you, Krish. We'll now take our next question, please.
Our next question is from Ben Reitzes with Melius Research. Please go ahead.
Hey, thanks a lot. Appreciate the question. Tim, I appreciate all your commentary around China. It was great to kind of hear about the growth potential there, or your optimism. I wanted to also ask about the supply chain, and where is your priority? Do you have a priority to diversify your supply chain? How do you feel about Apple's supply chain around the world? And in particular, what do you think about further investments in the US as well?
Our supply chain is truly global, and so we're investing all over the world, including in the United States. We were very focused on advanced manufacturing for the U.S. and have worked on a number of different projects in the U.S., whether it's our venture with Corning on the glass or the Face ID module or semiconductors. And so all of these are advanced manufacturing, and I think exactly the kinds of things that the U.S. would be and are very, very good at. We also invest in other regions of the world, and we're continually optimizing the chain. And so at the moment we learn something that didn't work exactly right, we're tweaking it. And so we're going to continue to do that. But at the end of the day, it will still be a global supply chain.
Got it. Thanks. Next one for Luca. Just really quick on the extra week dynamic. There was also last year an issue with the iPhone production where there was the COVID lockdowns in China. Is it possible to give some color around what that, I guess, having a normalized supply chain somewhat this year, what that benefit is this year, and maybe contrast that with the 7-point hit from the extra week? Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks for the question, Ben. I mentioned during the prepared remarks, the extra week is 7 points of revenue. We did have supply disruptions last year on the phone, on the 14 Pro and Pro Max in the December quarter a year ago. And when we normalize for those two factors, and I said it during the call, we still expect to grow on iPhone. So you take into account the loss of the extra week, you compare it with the supply disruptions that are not going to repeat, hopefully this year. And when you normalize for those two things, we still expect to grow on iPhone.
Thanks a lot, everybody. Appreciate it, Luca.
Thank you, Ben. And we'll take the last question now.
Our last question comes from Richard Cramer with Arete Research. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Tim, first off, if we look over the past 2 years, Apple sales are about $18 billion higher, and R&D is up by about 8%, $8 billion, or over a third higher. Can you give us a sense of some of the main components or drivers behind that increase in innovation spend? Is it Apple Silicon? Is it new products like Vision Pro, or is it content to support new services? I think that's one of the top questions investors have. Thanks.
Sure. It's a number of things, Richard. It's some things I can't talk about. It's Vision Pro. It's AI and ML. It's the silicon investment that we're making, the transition with the Mac and other silicon. It's sort of all of those things. And but I think you would find that the R&D expenditure in the aggregate looks very competitive versus others.
And I would add, Richard, on this front, some of the investments that we're making in R&D are also one of the drivers for the gross margin expansion. So I think it's important to think about it that way.
That's great. And Luca, you mentioned, or Tim mentioned college students choosing Macs, and you mentioned the record services revenue. What other metrics do you think you could provide to help investors understand how Apple measures and increases customer lifetime value, especially when we see a lot of users entering the ecosystem with relatively lower priced products or even refurbished devices? So you're growing your ecosystem, but how do you how do you think about growing customer lifetime value over the long run?
Well, some of the metrics that I've mentioned before, obviously we look at the installed base of active devices. We want to make sure that, the customers that we acquire remain with us. And so we have good visibility over that. And we pay a lot of attention to the behavior of the installed base, both by product and by geography. And then we look at the daily engagement in the ecosystem. So that's why we pay a lot of attention on things like transacting accounts, paid accounts. We want to see if, in fact, we are able to move our customers from a free model to a paid model over time. That's obviously very, very important for us. And so there's, all these, we keep track of all these things, and that's, and then what we do, because I think it's really important, is that over time we add new services, and that, obviously, like, for example, the progress that we made in payments in recent years, very, very important, because we've attracted more and more people that are actually now using additional features on our devices, and we are able to monetize that, right? So we take all that into account. We understand what happens when a customer joins us, when they buy a primary device versus a used device. We understand their behavior, in different markets and so on. So we have, I think, pretty good visibility. And I think the progress that we're making in services, we did $85 billion in the last 12 months. That's the size of a Fortune 50, and it's significantly bigger than it was just a couple of years ago.
Absolutely. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Richard. A replay of today's call will be available for 2 weeks on Apple Podcasts, as a webcast on apple.com/investor, and via telephone. The number for the telephone replay is 866-583-1035. Please enter a confirmation code 0106234, followed by the pound sign. These replays will be available by approximately 5 p.m. Pacific time today. Members of the press with additional questions can contact Josh Rosenstock at 408-862-1142. And financial analysts can contact me, Suhasini Chandramouli, with additional questions at 408-974-3123. Thank you again for joining us today.
All right, guys. So
this does conclude today's.
All right, guys. So that's the end of Apple's earnings call. Sorry if you hear my son in the background. My son's struggling. My wife's having to deal with him. He had a rough day at school. But what do you guys think of Apple's earnings call? Apple's not really down that much. It's down some. Previous closing price is right at 173.90s. It's at 171.80. So it's down $2 a share. So maybe down 1% on the day on this earnings call. Still green over the last 2 days. And so we're in a really interesting spot here where the rest of the market, like, people are acting like the market's crashing right now. My portfolio only lost about $100 in profit. We're still up $1,500 today. If you look at the SPY still very strong on the day, very strong in the day. And we are going to do a crypto show in a second, guys. So if you haven't already, again, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Again, if you want to check out our sponsors, if you want to day trade with less risk in futures, try TopStep. TopStep is a funded account program where they give you a demo. They test your skill. If you can hit the targets without hitting the max loss and while following the rest of their rules, they fund you between $50,000 to $150,000 with a 90% split. It's a great way to learn day trading with less risk. If you lose, you're only out $49. But if you're good enough to pass it, you get a lot of the benefits of putting up the money yourself with just less risk. You get funding between $50,000 in funding up to $150K with a 90% split. You get funded, you make $10K, you keep 9 of that. And you also get to keep your first $10,000 in profit. Free funding coaches, tons of great resources, a great way to learn. And in the futures market, you can day trade the S&P, the NASDAQ, currencies, gold, silver. There's the link for that right now. We're going to be moving over to a crypto show today, guys. So we are going to be streaming our crypto show, which is going to start anytime now. And so, yeah, guys, we're going to move over to the crypto show right now. Again, don't go anywhere. It should automatically bring you to the crypto show. So it should automatically bring you to the crypto show. If it doesn't for whatever reason, check out the link. There's the link to the crypto channel that we're about to do right there. The link is right there. And yeah, so far Apple is down a small percentage on the day. It definitely reacted negatively to some of this, specifically their guidance numbers and max sales. But yeah, we'll see what happens, guys. Good luck. Y'all be safe. Again, as soon as we leave, it should bring you over to that stream. Let me make sure we're ready for that here. And yeah, again, as soon as you leave, it should bring you right on over to that stream. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. Crypto, good luck. I'll see you guys over there. And yeah, we'll see you guys there.